Greetings, beautiful people. So check this out. All right, we're going to talk about hypnosis. Okay, and just to keep you guys updated, it is a profession that I am looking to dive into, and actually doing some studies on this now. But you know, here's the crazy thing with hypnosis. A lot of people they think that when they go into hypnosis, it's going to be where they're going to go in there, they're going to be in a trance, and you know, their life is going to change after one session. And here's how this works. Okay, you get hypnotized when you watch TV, but you go into a slight trance and don't even notice it. You get what I'm saying? The thing is, when you're going into hypnosis, you're looking for this trance. You get what I'm saying? You're looking to get in a trance-like state. And when you're going to hypnosis, or even trying to figure out what it really does, you need to go in there without the expectation of thinking that you're going to be in a trance. All right? It doesn't work like that. See, your subconscious mind communicates through suggestions and affirmations and stuff like that. That's how you communicate with the subconscious mind. But you have to understand that your brain has to go into a certain brainwave state for you to be able to communicate with the subconscious mind. This is why sometimes people will listen to affirmations you know, right before they go to bed, because their brain's going into a delta theta brainwave state. You know what I mean? And when you wake up in the morning, these are the best times to listen to these affirmations. But when you are going about during your day process, you're most likely in an alpha beta brainwave state, and this is where your brain is literally at a higher frequency. And it from this point on, you know, what you want to do to get into a trance-like state and not realize it is literally just sitting still and not focusing on being in a trance, but more or less, this is why they tell you focus on your breath, because you can hypnotize yourself. Every time you go into meditation, you're going into some type of hypnotic state. But the whole thing is that, you know, you don't have anything speaking to you unless you have something giving you affirmations, like something on a speaker, or let's say if you have headphones on, because you go into this trance-like state. You can go into this trance-like state just listening to binaural beats. You know what I mean? But you see, they use hypnosis on you every day. Why not use it to your advantage? You see, everything is a tool. Start to look at what is used on you to control your everyday life and control your belief systems. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing, it goes, the suggestions will from day to day go, and they hit your conscious mind, and then they get passed on to your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is the recorder, is the one that stores everything. So for example, when you drive, right, and you're learning how to drive as a teenager, you notice that you were very aware and conscious of everything that you're doing, right? Now when you become good at it as the years pass by, now you don't really pay attention to the road as much. You know what I mean? Now people text while they're driving, and the reason for this is because now your conscious mind, all right, learns on repetition and habits. So the fact that it got used to all this, now it passed it on to the subconscious mind. So now you drive, and sometimes you get to a location and you don't even know how the fuck you got there. You didn't even pay attention to it. You know what I mean? Sometimes people are driving, let's say on a long road trip, and let's say if you're kind of sleepy and you're dozing off, you could swear that you literally fell asleep for like a minute and then realize that you were like falling asleep while you're driving. You know what I mean? But your body literally goes on autopilot. I made a video, you know, previously, where I talk about when you sleep, it's an unconscious, meditative, hypnotic state. You know what I mean? But the whole thing is that when you go into that meditative state, it's equivalent to you being drunk. Okay? Now notice how when you drink alcohol, you don't know how the fuck what you did or how the fuck you got home. You know what I mean? Like, you'll drink, you get so smashed, and they always say a drunk person will always find their way home, but they don't remember shit the next day. They may have done something fucked up, and then they gotta apologize the next day because they don't remember what the hell they did. Now, you literally went and changed from a conscious state to an unconscious state, but you were in a sort of influenced hypnotic state in an unconscious manner. You know what I mean? So this is how we literally operate day by day, but consciously. You know what I mean? So if you're drunk, you're just doing the same thing you do every day, except you're drunk, but you're also unconscious. So it's the same thing when you go to bed. You go to bed, you're unconscious. You don't remember what the hell you dreamt, what you dreamed of. You know what I mean? And things like that are things to really consider what hypnosis is all about. But see, you want to make sure that whoever, because hypnosis is not controlling, but it could be used for control, for mind control, because this is how they use the hypnosis every day, is for mind control. But it could be used to guide your mind. You know what I mean? So guiding the mind would be literally convincing the mind through affirmations and suggestions. You get what I'm saying? Now, this is how subliminal messaging works, but it works when you're watching TV. Because when you watch TV, I've seen people, I've seen it 1,000 times, like, and then you go and try to talk to them, and they're like this, huh? Yeah. And then that's how they watch TV. I've seen it. You know what I mean? They'll listen to music. You go into a hypnotic state and don't even realize it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're listening to music and you're going like this. And you know those words that are going into your ear? If they're fucking words that don't help you or serve you, and they're words of negativity, like, you know, fuck this bitch and blah, 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 and I'll kill you and fucking stab you and all this bullshit, and you're there bobbing your head like this, you are literally subconsciously bobbing because you see the music. See, you are music. You're made of frequency and sound. You are a frequency. You emit a certain frequency. But sometimes certain words along with that frequency get you to, you know what I mean? Go into that, you start to bob to it, and you subconsciously, whatever, you know, debilitating words are being used, you're just subconsciously agreeing to it by bobbing your head like that. You know what I mean? You're dancing to that. You know what I mean? When you should be dancing to a different tune, a tune that's more in harmony with the universe. See, a tune that's and the reason you might be bobbing your head like this is because you probably are in a lower frequency. If the music is low frequency and you're going like that, you're probably in low frequency. That's a good way to find out if you are in a low frequency or not. Now, here's the crazy thing. How many people like classical music, symphony, you know, binaural beats? You don't really like it as much as you do like fucking rap music that's talking a bunch of shit. And the reason why is because your frequency is lower. You see, me, I never used to like classical music, but ever since I raised my frequency and my conscious and awareness came up, I appreciate classical music. It literally makes me feel good. It makes me feel a certain way. I'm like, wow, how come I didn't like this before? You know what I mean? And it happens where you change. There's certain music you may listen to one time, and then you listen to it years later, and you're like, oh shit, this is a pretty good song. How come I didn't like this before? You know what I mean? And that's because you change frequency. Now, it's the same thing when you watch a video, right? And you're watching a video of knowledge, and your frequency ain't high enough, you may not even understand what the hell the person's saying. You raise your frequency and vibration a little bit, and later on, you're going to be able to understand what it is that person is saying on that video. You know what I mean? And it's happened to me. I'm not telling you something that I heard. This is something that I have experienced. You know what I mean? I've watched videos. You know what I mean? Even like when I told you that I was going through this change a couple years ago, liver enzymes and stuff like that, I started to do research, got me down a few rabbit holes, but the information I was listening to wasn't even making sense to me. And then later on, of course, I started becoming more educated, listening to certain different levels of information, because it goes by levels. You know what I mean? And this is why I say, like, even like this is why I consider ascension maturity. You know what I mean? Because you can't go and teach a young child what like the topic of conscious awareness, because they're not even conscious aware. But not only that, they are not of the level to even understand it. You know what I mean? So in the beginning, what do? They're in their subconscious mind, so they need to be guided. You get what I'm saying? And this is how the subconscious mind works. The subconscious mind is like 95%, and then the conscious is 5%. What you operate on every day is the conscious mind. You know what I mean? And you associate with that, you know, with that 5%. You know what I mean? And the subconscious is what really creates, and based on the belief systems passed from the conscious mind, this is why when you listen to information, you create a belief system, and this is how you form that 95% that's under that 5%. It's through the information. But if you do not have a clear vessel or clear channels, then what's going to happen is that you're not going to be able to see. When your body's clean, okay, intuition and discernment is your filter to know what serves you and what not. So if you're listening to information that doesn't serve you, you're gonna listen to shit and believe it. And this is why I tell people, don't believe everything you hear. Just listen, extract what you need, and keep it moving. And what you do is you do your own research, and then you'll know if things start to connect the dots later on for you. Because here's another thing that you need to know. There's different perceptions to everything. See, there's really no lies. Everything's just coming down to how deep are you willing to look at that perception. Now, for example, if I'm having a debate with somebody, right, we're both closed-minded, but when we're building, what's happening here is that I see my perception of things, but then I'm also seeing his perception of things. Now, perception is light. So if I'm closed-minded to what he's saying, that means that I'm only seeing a small percent of the color spectrum, and we already know that we don't see shit here. Now, the only way that you can start to see more here is basically being open. But when you're open to attacks as well. This is why I say you need to have your filters up, and the way to have your filters up is having a clean vessel. This is why things like fluoride is a neurotoxin, and if you have that neurotoxin in your body and you don't have filter, if you don't, like, you see, knowledge is power, because when you have knowledge, you can use better decisions through judgment. Now, if you know something's poison and you still ingest it, that means that you don't love yourself enough and you don't respect yourself enough. And I've already said this before in other videos. People will treat you the way you treat yourself. So if you treat yourself with no care and no respect, don't expect people to treat you with care and respect, because what happens inside of you is a projection of what's happening outside of you. That's the reflection. That's what you reflect out. That's what you project out. And the same way that information comes in the form of words, you're also ingesting toxicity. So you are creating an environment in your body or in your universe of toxicity. So what do you expect to be projecting out? Okay? This is why it's important to be conscious, and awareness is not hard. It's just being disciplined and smart enough to know that you're powerful and you can say no to ingesting certain things because, oh, I'm addicted to this flavor, or I'm addicted to this cigarette, or I'm addicted to this alcohol. Like, you're in control. Okay? And people are out of control. Okay? And they always look outside of themselves for things. And that's why when you leave your space, your center, you're a space cadet. And people always want to externalize their power looking for other things, meaning that you're turning away your power to something else. You know what I mean? You already give your power away when you go to work. You know what I mean? Which is literally you going to work for a certain amount, and that's what you agree to put your time and energy into. And I'm not telling you that there's nothing bad about that. You know what I mean? But also, if you're going to do that, have a balance and start creating your own lights as well. Start creating your own energy until you're strong enough to leave whatever you need to have a dependency on. You know what I mean? Because we've made bad decisions in life where we put ourselves in situations to have to be in a position where we have to work for this physical manifestation of energy. You know what I mean? And a lot of us don't even know our self-worth. And that's because of the programming and hypnosis that we've been put under to believe that we're not worth it and we need to depend on something all the time. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important to really grasp, if anything out of this video, is to know that you need to be conscious, aware of what you're putting in your mouth. See, fluoride is the main ingredient in rat poison. We are supposedly in a rat race. Isn't that what they say? Now, what is the main poison for rats? Fluoride. So if you're in a rat race and you're ingesting poison, you are the stupidest rat in that race because you're ingesting the poison, okay? See, there's rats who become smart enough to evade certain traps, okay? So this is very important to know. You cannot avoid fluoride. It's very hard to avoid fluoride. So here's what you do. You cannot, and I've heard people say, oh, but I stopped drinking tap water and I only drink distilled water, but you're still eating meat and you're still buying stuff that has chemicals. Even if you're eating fruits and vegetables, be aware that there's glyphosate in the skin of the fruit. A banana, you could peel it open. There's not going to be nothing really much to worry about because you can just throw the skin away or use that skin for compost, which is what I do. And I have a garden. Now, if you're going to use the fruits, like for example, an apple, you have to know what to wash it with. There's something called neem oil. There's organic cleansers that have a lot of neem oil in it. Now, glyphosate or Roundup is oily. So how do you get something oily out of the skin of your fruit? Through something that's oily as well. You can't do it with soap and water. You know what I mean? So these little things are things to help you out, but you're going to break out of this hypnotic programming by controlling what you put in your mouth. And not only that, it's not about eating more healthy food, it's just eating less in general. Get to a point where you don't even need to depend on food. You see, you're Superman or Superwoman. They don't need to sleep. They don't need to eat. You know what I mean? You're just this vessel, but we've been programmed to be like this because our DNA is dormant, but our DNA goes more dormant the more we eat, because your body creates amino acids and it doesn't create certain amino acids, which is why we have to eat certain foods. But do you know that by breathing properly, all right, activating your DNA in that way, now you don't have to eat as much? If you're activating DNA, okay, your body doesn't need that much food anymore. Fuck, you don't even need to sleep that much. You know why? Because you're not toxic. The more you need to sleep and you feel like you're tired even after you slept 8 hours is because you're toxic. So do some enemas, start cleansing your body out. And this is why it's important to cleanse your body out, because when you sleep, you're detoxifying. But if your body's clean, you'll notice that you don't even need to sleep that much because your body doesn't have to detox so much when you sleep. These are little ways to know. Now, you got bodybuilders who have to eat 6 times a day. They're eating 6 times more of the fluoride. And not only that, but they microwave their food. See, all these things will fuck you up. And when you dirty and toxify your body in this way, you become more susceptible to the programming. You get what I'm saying? Because now your discernment abilities, your intuition, all that is dormant. And when that happens, now you're a mess. This is very important to know. This is not anything where it's just, you know, oh, I'm being controlled. And, you know, like, yeah, there's people who are very, very smart and advanced and they can use alchemy and transmute things. But at the end of the day, everything you come in contact with becomes a part of you. This is why they say you are what you eat. All right? And this is how your DNA and gene expression expresses itself is by what you're eating. Okay? As above, so below. As within, so without. All right? There's your 4D. Okay? Up, down, left, right, front, back. 3D, 4D, in, out. As within, so without. Pay attention to that last part. The hypnotic programming is not going to work on you if you look at it with the same attitude as you look at it when you go to see a hypnotherapist. You go in there and you're like, I didn't go into a trance. Like, he just told me a bunch of things. I just felt very relaxed. But that's the point. The fact that you felt so relaxed is the fact that now you were aware still. You were conscious and aware, right? But the key is to go in there and just let go so that your subconscious mind is listening and not your conscious mind. Get your conscious mind out of the way. Just let it be. First of all, whatever you're listening to, if the hypnotherapist is making suggestions or giving you words in your ear, the key is to not associate those sounds with words. Just let them go in your ear and tickle your ear. That's all you have to do. See, the moment you start identifying what it is that's going in your ear, that's when you're using your conscious mind and your subconscious is not at play. Okay? But all this is through knowledge and discipline. And pay attention to what's going in your mouth. This is the most important thing. Pay attention to the things that you're listening to every day. And the way that you can see, here's the thing, even before you start a hypnosis therapy session, which they are very, very effective, I'm going to tell you this real quickly, okay? The same way that you're not going to start eating healthy unless you clean your body out, okay? Because you have things called antioxidants. But why would you want to take antioxidants if you're full of toxins? Wouldn't you want to oxidize the toxins first, pulverize them, and get them out of your body first? Right? So it's the same way. How do you expect to intake suggestions and affirmations if you're full of shit? This is why you should meditate on your own and clear your space through breath. Clear your space. Now you're cleansing your body and your spirit. Okay? And you're now able to have a little more control, because when you meditate, you have to focus on breath, and you have to also focus on staying still. See, many people can't even stay still without these thoughts just coming in their head. You get what I'm saying? This is discipline. That's why now before you, and when you listen to information that's not true, like what you learn in school, notice that you have to unlearn what you learned to learn new things. So it's the same thing. If you're going to go into a hypnotherapy session, clear your space first. See, you're so empowered and you're so powerful that you could do all this yourself. You could hypnotize yourself if you record your own voice. All right? But there's people who can't do things themselves. They can't make their own organite. You know what I mean? They can't structure their own water. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, there's people who can benefit from going to a hypnotherapist, but they are very effective. And this is something that I am looking to endeavor. And if we turn the tables and utilize it to our advantage, all right, now we could be like the fucking smartass who goes to a hypnotherapist and say, I didn't get hypnotized. I was aware of everything he was saying. I never went in a trance, right? But the reason that you go in a trance when you watch TV and get programmed through everything that happens in your everyday life is because you're not paying attention to noticing if you went in a trance or not. People watch TV like that and they don't even notice they went in a trance. But I bet you if you were paying attention, you wouldn't go in a trance. You wouldn't be easily programmed anymore. This is why when you watch movies, there's subliminal messaging in movie, there's messages in movie, and now people who are conscious aware now watch movies as documentaries. They don't watch it for the entertainment purpose of it. Because look at the word meant at the end. You entertain your mentality. And then you're attaining the mentality, putting it on in a submission, in a hold. You know what I'm saying? And then when it's in a submission and a hold, it's being programmed by the controllers that put that programming in play. This is why when you turn the channel, they call it a television program, and you change the channel, right? And then they tell lies to your vision. I don't want to make this video too long, but I'll go more into this topic, because just keep this in mind. Stay away from fluoride. If you're ingesting fluoride, you're gonna get you're the rat that got poisoned. All right. So if you appreciate this message, like, share, and subscribe. And we will talk soon on the chat. And any questions, let me know in the comments. We'll talk soon.